So, are you ready to disagree with me in the comments section below?
Xbox,
Twitter, Uber,
Postmates,
Netflix, MoviePass,
Google, Facebook, eBay,
DoorDash,
Apple, Amazon,
Airbnb, the Apptrepreneur. Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and we are entering that wonderful world of politics. That wonderful world where, like, oh my gosh, so many people love telling me what they think about my politics. So much so, I have someone who has actually said in the comments section that he has made it his life mission to get me taken off of YouTube because I don't like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Because apparently that's like my biggest problem in life, that I don't like a politician who's a narcissist. Okay, yeah. This one's obviously going to be a touchy subject, but it's worth talking about, so let's roll up our sleeves and dig right in. Oh, but actually, before we dig right in, it just reminded me, let's have a word from our sponsors because this is clearly getting demonetized.
If you have rideshare insurance, you know what a disaster it is. It's super expensive. Some guys are paying over $100 a month for it on top of their regular insurance. So we're working with an insurance company to help lower prices and get better coverage. They're working on a plan where Uber and Lyft drivers will either pay by the mile or by the hour. You'll only pay for what you use, but we need some information from you, the drivers. We need to know on average how far and how long you drive with Uber and Lyft each week. So would you click on the link below in the description and take just 5 minutes to fill out the survey? We'd really appreciate it.
Oh, and by the way, one more time before I forget, I want to say once more that survey is below. They just need about 100 more people to respond, something along those lines. They've been very good to this channel. They've been very good to me, to you guys. They've allowed me to upload multiple videos. Please consider signing the survey. So, with that out of the way, let's, would it help if I had my classic Lyft mustache? Would that make this? No, I'm just delaying at this point. Okay, so Democratic candidates criticize the labor model of Uber and Lyft and keep using them. This is honestly not a surprise to me, and it shouldn't surprise you either. I mean, here's the thing. Whether you are a Republican or a Democrat, you are going to run campaigns based on promises that you don't intend to keep. I mean, just to let you know, like Donald Trump ran on like no war. He wants to pull people out of the Middle East and stuff. And he bombed Syria. I believe it was Syria anyway. If it was another country, I'm sorry. I, get the names mixed up sometimes. But, he also said that he was here to fight for LGBT causes. And some of his policy positions have not been exactly LGBT friendly. So it does not surprise me that the Democrats, who get brought up more in my live streams than others, because the Democrats go on and they say they are against Uber and Lyft. They're shame that they make this much money and they pay their drivers so little. And by the way, I'm not saying that they are wrong for complaining about them. And yet, they don't really walk the talk. They just talk the talk. The first time I complained about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was because she made this huge stink about Uber and Lyft were cluttering the streets, clogging our airways, contributing to global warming, and that you should take the subway. And what do you know? She's not taking the subway. She's taking Uber and Lyft. And many of her constituents are doing that too. Senator Elizabeth Warren, who I kind of like, by the way, has made fighting big technology companies a key focus of her Democratic presidential campaign, including Uber and Lyft. Here's a tweet from her. And hey, look who it is. He keeps showing up in my videos. What do you know? I don't know if he wants to be in this one because he probably disagrees with me politically, but that's fine. Uber and Lyft executives are preparing to cash in by taking their companies public, so they're squeezing their drivers and slashing their pay. The drivers are fighting for living wages and better working conditions, and I stand with them. Okay. She also tweeted, Uber and Lyft are worth billions of dollars, but their business model depends in part on low wages for their drivers. I stand with ride-sharing workers who are organizing for better pay and benefits and the opportunity to bargainably collect. And she's not the only one. Bernie Sanders, who is going through his own little $15 wage controversy, which I'm going to hold back on commenting on, only to tell you that I think it's really funny. says Uber is not a poor company. It paid its top 5 executives $143 million in compensation last year, including $45 million to its CEO. So why are Uber drivers struggling to put food on the table? I stand with striking Uber and Lyft drivers today. The greed has got to end. He also said Uber says it can't pay its drivers more money, but rewarded CEO with nearly $50 million last year. People who work for multi-billion-dollar companies should not have to work 70 or 80 hours a week to get by. I agree. I stand with the Uber and Lyft drivers going on strike May 8th. So, yeah, you've definitely got some of these politicians who are opposed to Uber and Lyft basically exploiting everyone, because that's what they do. Whatever we feel politically, I think we are all on the same page, whether Republican, Democrat, Independent. Uber and Lyft are screwing us. They absolutely are. Now, we definitely have disagreements on what we can do to get them to stop screwing us. My suggestion, best one, the one that would really work, stop driving for them, find another job, don't come back until they treat you right. But, you know, some people are saying legislation. We have to talk about it. It's obviously a complicated issue. But here's where it gets good, of course. Because despite Democratic candidates indicating concern over Uber's treatment of its gig workers, ride-hailing has become central to their campaign operations. Out of the 2020 presidential candidates, the most vocal about Uber and Lyft's labor model are also the ones making plenty of payments on ride-hailing services, according to Federal Election Commission filings from January 1st until now. Collectively, these Democratic candidates' campaigns took at least 2,629 Uber and Lyft rides and spent at least $68,481, according to FEC data. Which... You know, that's what some of your donations are paying for. Some of you people who paid $10, you paid for their Uber ride. I'm sure you felt that. I don't know. Maybe that was an effective use of your money towards a campaign. I mean, they do have to go somewhere. They do have to get to places. I will acknowledge that. If I were donating money, I would personally hope it would be spent on campaign ads and stuff like that, but whatever. Meanwhile, the Trump re-election campaign alone spent about $18,239 on 1,140 Uber rides in the past 2 quarters. So maybe that's a win, but honestly, I don't know what Trump's stance on rideshare is. That's a frustrating thing. I kind of wish he would say something about it, because I would like to know where he stands. Courts contacted all the candidates' representatives for comment and will update this story with any response. With the exception of Sanders, the leading candidates have taken more Ubers and Lyfts than any other ground transportation service, rentals, limos, taxis in the past 2 quarters, according to FEC data. So here's the leading Democrats candidates. It looks like Joe Biden took 116 Uber and Lyfts, 92 rentals, and 1 black car limo. Sanders has taken 278 Uber and Lyfts, 354 rentals, 20 taxis, and 14 black car limos. So first of all, he's not he's taken more. Why did they write it this way? With the exception of Sanders, the leading candidates have taken more Ubers and Lyfts than any other. Oh, I see what they're saying. Because Sanders actually took more rentals and taxis and black limos. Actually, he took more black car and limos than anyone. Elizabeth Warren is the queen of Uber and Lyft. She took 664 Uber and Lyft rides, 257 rentals, 13 taxis, no black cars or limos. As for Kamala Harris, 149 Uber and Lyfts, 59 rentals, 13 taxis, no black car limos, and Buttigieg. I say it in this insulting name. Buttigieg took 342 Uber and Lyfts, 133 rentals, 51 taxis, and 13 black cars and limos. Now, again, I'm not saying these politicians don't have the right to take the transportation service that they want. They have to get places, and in fact, in many cases, I would even, if I were them, I would prefer that they take a black car, a limo, something that's heavily guarded, because there are people who want to hurt them, which I disagree with, by the way. So they're actually pretty vulnerable when they take an Uber or a Lyft. It's just interesting that they speak out against Uber and Lyft so much, and yet they use them a lot. So here, the number of rides they take shows the convenience of and growing dependence on ride-hailing when campaigning town to town, particularly as Uber and Lyft spread to more rural areas. Plus, it's often a more cost-effective option than renting a car or driving around in a limousine. Limousines are more expensive, admittedly. And here's how much they paid for the rides. I'm not going to go through all of them. Again, it seems like Sanders did spend the least amount on Uber and Lyft, but spent way more on private transportation, which, I really want to comment on his $15 an hour staff wage problem. This seems like the perfect opportunity, but it is not related to this, so I'm going to hold back. While the ride-hailing companies have upended the taxi industry, some candidates still use taxis in cities like Newark, New Jersey, New York City, and Boston. Warren's campaign, with a staff of over 300, has taken the most Uber and Lyft rides to date. In the second quarter, April through June, her campaign took 452 rides, costing $8,439, up from 212 rides that cost $3,000. Yeah. So anyway, bottom line, look at these numbers. You look at the numbers cost. And this shows, if you're going to be voting based on rideshare policies, unfortunately, you might have to wait till the next election before anything gets done, because look at what these people are paying on these rides. They clearly get some brownie points when they say, hey, Uber and Lyft are evil and they're taking advantage of workers. And yeah, that is true. But look at them. They are taking advantage of the very system that they complain about. Do you think they want to give up this level of convenience? No. I mean, granted, once they are president, then that level of convenience is no longer necessary. They have their own private riders, I suppose. But again, you have to walk the walk as well as talk the talk. AOC got huge flack for insulting people. Being really snide and snooty. You need to take the subway, and she won't even do it herself. Now, none of these people have been that bad, but they have criticized Uber and Lyft, and yet they use them all the time. Do they tip in cash? Unlikely. Very, very unlikely. That just adds a lot to the campaign cost. And I bet you a tip is not factored into a reasonable expense for most politicians, even though they're running on free money. And by the way, I feel this way about Republicans too. It's just right now, the Republican candidate is Donald Trump. He has not said anything about Uber and Lyft, so therefore I can't really comment on it, although I'm pretty sure he's not going to be very helpful to rideshare drivers either, so don't think this is an endorsement of him. Bottom line, these politicians are not going to do anything about Uber and Lyft. They're just not. I think they like the product too much. I think it gets some good publicity right now, but if it comes to actually doing something about it, you're going to have to look at other issues when choosing who to vote for in the primaries, because none of them are going to do anything about Uber and Lyft. But that's my opinion. Now it's time for yours. What do you believe? Agree? Disagree? You probably disagree. I know you guys. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, of course, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly, and you get access to my Patreon's exclusive blog. If you want more content from me that's not political, or mostly not political, and different from rideshare stuff, check out my other YouTube channels, Kevin T. Rodriguez, the Apptrepreneur Vlogs, and Autograph Hound. And if you want to talk to me or other fellow rideshare drivers personally, check us out on the Apptrepreneur Hangouts on Facebook. And as always, blame responsibly. Have a good one.